The next thing to mention on this first page of our intake here, a couple things actually. One thing is that you will know that a field is required if it has the red asterisk next to the field name. So that means, of course, that we have to select a value before we can move on. You'll also notice that some of the fields on your intake are going to default to certain values. So for instance, these first three fields we can see are already filled out for us. We didn't actually have to choose anything here. Our intake date is simply defaulting to today's date. So that will update each day as you do new intakes. And then our intake type is actually tied to my user record. And then intake unit, I believe, is just a general default. So all intakes that are started are defaulted to the general program. Now, if we scroll down a little bit past our applicant name, which again, of course, is already filled out from our pre-screen, we'll also notice we don't have a conflict searching link here because, as I mentioned, we'll be doing that automatic conflict search on our next step. Next here, we have our address block. It's got a couple of optional configurations turned on here. So the first thing is if we enter our zip code, I'm entering one in Chicago, it's going to automatically update our city and our county fields. So it's going to update those based on the zip code that you enter. If I were to enter a full address here, it will also give me that option of a Google Map link. So if I click on that, I can actually see this address in Google Maps. Again, that's a configuration option that your site administrator may or may not have turned on there. And another thing we have turned on for this particular address block in our site here is the institutionalized option. So this allows you to connect your clients' addresses with organizations that you have entered in your system. If I say yes here, it's going to show me a drop down of any organizations in the site that are tagged as institutions. So for our example, we've just got our one ABC Referrals example organization. And if I choose that, it's going to update that address based on whatever is in the organization record. So again, allows you to tag your client to an organization and have that address automatically populate. We also have our safe address indicator. We've got our phone number section here. This will allow you to select a preferred phone. Based on your configurations, it may be up at the top here, or it could be under this additional numbers button. So you may have to click that to set your preferred phone. Each phone number will have a phone entry box, as well as a note box, and a safe check mark as well. Scrolling down a little bit further here, we've got a little bit of additional information about our clients. This particular demo site is using the blocks for Social Security number and date of birth. What this will do is it will default the value, the status value, to known, and that will show a required field for the social and date of birth. Now, if I don't know the social, or they're just refusing to give it to me, I can update my status to one of these values, and then that field disappears. So I no longer have to worry about the fact that it was required. The date of birth field will automatically calculate the age of your client for you, as we can see there. And then all the way at the bottom here, we've got our intake notes block. This is going to follow your intake throughout all of your steps. So it's a cumulative note. So if we add something here, we'll see it on the next page. We can add a little bit more, and again, keep it going throughout the entire intake. So we'll just add a little note there for now. Now, another big thing to mention about the intake process in LegalServer is that we have to click a continue button at the end of the form to save the information on this form. Now, because this is the first step of our intake, we did start from a pre-screen, so we do already have that pre-screen record for this client. But if we were to start this intake from scratch and we didn't click continue on this first page, we would have never created a record for this person. So they wouldn't be saved in our site at all. So again, you always want to make sure to click your continue button to save the information. And it's most crucial, of course, on this first step. So once we click continue here, we will have officially created this incomplete intake record. It is, of course, an incomplete intake because we haven't finished our intake process yet. So if we were looking for this case, if we had to navigate away and then wanted to come back to it, it would, of course, be in our incomplete intakes list here.